I do have a couple questions here in the chat for you, Don. One is from Michael Meter. Do you guys think they actually progress towards better competition? Let's take a positive approach to this, Don. What did you see today that does make you feel better about the schedule ahead?
I still see a defense that's going to keep us in every game, that's not going to give up a lot of big plays, that is going to be stingy in the red zone. And in that regard, if the offense contributes with good, solid ball control, and even if we're a little inconsistent, if we can put together a few scoring drives, our kicking game's good. If we fail in the red zone or even in plus territory, we can kick a long-range field goal. And I think, and obviously the defense, you can't expect them to always score all this, although they officially scored 2 more points today. But in general, of course, if they can just provide the offense with good field position, then we should be able to take advantage of it. And at the very least, put up 3 points, if not 6. So, yeah, I think we made slight progress in that regard. A coach would have the mindset, even if we've made slight progress, we need to make it faster. We shouldn't be satisfied with how we played. The only great players I've ever been around, they all had one thing in common, and that was that they were never satisfied with how they played. They were always trying to find a way to play a perfect game. It's impossible to do, but it's certainly aspirational on their part to think that they might someday get that done.
Don, as far as the safety is concerned, one observation from that, and then we can move on. But to me, it was not a good effort from the Kent State quarterback or his teammate. I believe it was the running back on that play. I didn't think very good effort to get the ball out of the end zone. Of course, you got to get the ball all the way out of the end zone for it to not be a safety. But the running back, I thought, could have come up behind him and at least tried to push his quarterback out of the back of the end zone. Did you see that?
Well, the only thing that's difficult to ascertain, the ball was clearly in the end zone when the quarterback possessed it, but he was barely in the end zone. Maybe 1 yard? Maybe 1 yard in the end zone. Honestly, at that point, here's what's a hard question to answer. Are you better off giving up the safety than you are just back on the 1 yard line and playing from there? Because there's still a chance of a safety the next play, or worse yet, maybe you turn it over and you give them great field position too. At least the 2-point play gave them a chance for a free kick. That's the one time, at least maybe the only time they kicked deep to Charlie, and he made a decent return on it like you'd expect him to do. But, those are the kind of things we shouldn't take for granted. Our center, that ball is always within a couple of 3 inches of where it's supposed to be, it seems to me, on snaps. He's a very consistent deep snapper. And their guy, maybe he didn't have many that were off target, but that was one that was way off target, obviously, because the quarterback couldn't control it.
Don, a comment here from Sawyer. Good win for the Hawks. Moss has some video to watch. Goodson, keep recognizing the field for holes. Kelly Martin to RB4. I think we addressed that earlier. I don't think he's going to be I think my guess is on the depth chart next week, it's going to say, and I know depth charts don't mean much at Iowa, but it's going to say Tyler Goodson, Ivory Kelly Martin. I don't see Kirk Ferentz eliminating him from the 2 deep. Would you agree with that?
Probably. I don't know that for a fact, but we don't know for sure that one of the young backs, they're both named Williams, right?
Yes, they
are. Gavin came in next, I believe. Can you honestly say that the way the day played out, that Gavin should be in the game ahead of Kelly Martin? You could make that argument because, as you've always heard me say, one turnover can be the difference in the game. And this one turnover stuff on the part of Kelly Martin is getting a little bit old. I'm sure the coaches feel that way too. I'm sure Kelly Martin feels that way. He's as disappointed as anyone. So I don't know who to take the first snap off the bench next week. It will be interesting to see. Maybe Vegas is going to have a betting line on that. Is it going to be Kelly Martin for the next snap, or is it going to be one of the new guys?
Absolutely. Ramsey Nelson, can't tell much from regular camber angle, but replay from the end zone showed open receivers down the seam with no safety over the top. Petrus never even looked downfield.
I don't know much about the end zone angles because I didn't have access to them today. Even if it was an end zone shot, it didn't necessarily show all the receivers on the field. There were times I thought when he um, gave up pretty quickly on moving the ball down the field. Maybe he was not under duress. He was in the pocket. Maybe I a time or two, and it looked like he was just determined not to take a sack. And he just if he found a guy with a black jersey on, he if he was right there in plain sight, right in front of him, he tended to give him the ball. And you could argue that that's not a terrible strategy because at least the ball's being transferred from a guy that does not advance it very well by running it to a guy that does. Some of these dumps, of course, can turn into long gainers. Goodson's that talented a back. And sometimes it wasn't Goodson, maybe, but it was him more often than not. Um, I would like to think that Spencer will become better over time, locating those receivers that are open deep downfield. We talked about this last week in flush situations, and I don't know how it's coached at Iowa right now. We talked about how we used to coach it, and that's an opportunity for a receiver to break deep down the field. And you can imagine, put yourself in the shoes of Kent State today. If their quarterback broke contain late in the game, I would certainly hope my receivers were trying to break deep downfield because we need to make something big happen. And I don't know that our guys are coached that way. I'm not sure how they're coached. It's really none of my business. That's strictly in-house for the team to discuss. But that is a good way to teach it, I think. And you heard me saying there's a reason for everything we ever did. We were playing Ohio State back in '85, and we had 2 passes intercepted because in flush situations, our receivers were working parallel to the line of scrimmage. Ohio State twice undercut our receivers. And after that game, we said never again. Our receivers from that point forward, they either broke deep down the field in the direction the quarterback's working, or they came back toward the line of scrimmage in the direction the quarterback's working. Obviously, first down to win the game, you're not worried about breaking deep down the field. You're worried about getting in position to make a first down. The other extreme, of course, if you need a big play, I'd like to believe that the quarterback and the receiver are thinking the same way. Let's make something big happen. It's a flush situation, but if we're both on the same page, we'll have a good chance to make that thing connect.
Don, how'd you feel about well, first of all, I want to thank B. Wagner for this comment. Loves the post-game show, and we appreciate having him on here each and every week to talk Iowa football. And of course, we want to thank you, Don, for being on here with us. What did you think of the roughing the passer penalty? I believe it was John Wagner. To me, it was a phantom call. I don't know if you saw it on replay.
I did not get a good. I don't even know if they showed the replay in the stadium. I can't remember. Sometimes somebody's talking to me maybe, and I might overlook a replay in rare cases, but I don't remember the play. I don't remember how bad the call was.
I think if you watch, are you planning on watching this game back, Don?
Yes.
So when you watch this game back, I think you'll. I would have to think you'll agree it was a phantom call. The referee called it a high hit. It was a good acting job on the part of the Kent State quarterback. I'll say that.